I woke up at 4:17, and I woke up hearing trumpets, like doo 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 doo, like that. And right away, Angel Gabriel came to mind because I have a little coin. It's really tiny. That has Angel Gabriel on it, and on the other side it has 4 trumpets. There's, and then I also saw when I was coming out of my dream state, like the world, but I saw like light codes like coming through, like South America and North America, like I don't know how to explain, like a lot of dots, which are light codes for some reason, like across like that, not horizontally but vertically. Let me tap in for a second. There's a lot coming through about hermiting, going within, keeping your journey, keeping your journey to self simple. And the simplest way is, it's not just isolating. It's not isolating from the world, or in order to see the world for what it is. It is, but not in a negative way. A lot of the times when we say that we need to see things for what they are, we really default to the negative, to the fear-based things. Sometimes, a lot of the times when we hear you have to see the world for what it is, it's really, no one's really defaulting to, it's all about love, It's all about community and helping each other. No one really defaults to that. I think we always default to seeing the world for what it is. It's more of an omen of like despair and coming down to reality, if you will. All of those things always seem to be negative. You have to question that. It's the message here. Question why the default thought, right? The default thought is always, if you're coming down to reality, quote unquote. It's weird. I'm trying to find my voice here. It's like I'm not sure how to speak for some reason. That is the energy as well. It's like you're finding truth, but the divine wants you to find the truth in a light-hearted way. Okay, if you are a light worker, yes, it is amazing to be grounded in reality and realize that yes, the world has a lot of shitty shit going on. The shitty shit is always going to be there. Okay, the shitty shit, whenever you want to admit it and like look at it, you can always find it. It is time to really see the world in a different light. If you cannot see the good around you, it's going to be really hard to bring good to those people around you and even to yourself. Don't think about others, okay? Think about your journey. It's a very personal journey because, again, you are a creator and you are God itself. So, if you as a God, whenever you, quote unquote, look at the world for what it is, what you see and what you experience and what you focus on, it's all the pain, the fear, the hurt. That is what it's going to obviously also kind of be reflected back to you. Where your focus goes, it's truly going to be a mirror, right? It's almost like we are being asked to be a little delusional, okay? Whenever we are looking at the broad scheme of things, or quote unquote coming down to reality, seeing things for what they are, let's be delusional. Let's try that out. We already tried the, oh my God, everything's going to shit. kind of reality, right? We've tried that. I think we're in it, okay? We're in it. But it is time for us to get out of it. Like, I don't know. It's not like I have answers of how to magically implement this. And this is literally just a download. I'm just speaking to see what comes through. Just because I woke up with literally trumpets, like I said, like, hello, you have a message, or it's time to wake up. Like, April might be very significant as well, because it was 4:17 when I woke up, and it was 4:20 when I started recording, so that could be significant as well. With 420 being here, the divine also wants you to not feel guilty for smoking weed. Quite frankly, that's also the message. It's almost like use it to expand your mind and be in a happy place if that's what you need. It's almost like they want you to imagine and create from a happy place. And if you need, now be cautious here. I'm not saying use all the drugs under the sun and follow this falsehood of bliss, if you will. But it is okay. It is okay for certain medications, if they help you align to a more joyous state, to then create, and for you to kind of consume joy is what I'm hearing. It's almost like if you consume media, make sure you're consuming a lot of joy. And if you're not getting joy from what you're consuming, it's time to shift that, okay? As much as possible, you are being asked to hold a vision in your mind of a world that you want to live in, not the world that you do live in if you don't like the world that you live in, if that makes sense. So focus on the good around you, okay? If you only have $100 in your bank account, let's try to not think I only have $100. It's more of, thank God I have $100. That's enough for right now, and I know more is coming. That's it. It's that simple. Whenever the thought comes in, you're being asked to shift it. And this is hard to do. This is not easy. I'm not saying here that it's kumbaya, let's hold hands and just pretend everything's okay. It's not about that. But again, we have tried the other way. We have tried to see, now I'm stumbling over my words. We have tried to see the world for the reality that is trying to be projected upon us. How about we are a little delusional or a little in the flow and just say, you know what? Yeah, I have $100, but at least I have $100, right? And I'm giving that example because I feel like that is a very significant example for everybody in this moment in time. The scarcity that we don't have enough, we won't have enough, is really, really trying to be driven into our subconscious, and therefore becomes a reality in our conscious mind, because it's like we draw from that fear, but Gabriel wants you to know that you should, if anything, draw from that fear. Whenever that fear comes up, alchemize it. And it is hard to do because you have to be a conscious creator. Key word here. I never even knew what that meant. It's kind of like now I'm realizing what that means. Get my throat, my goodness. I'm realizing what conscious creation means now. You have to, whenever you encounter, again, a creative problem, which is literally everything around you, any kind of thought that comes to your mind is an opportunity for creation. You either accept it for what it is and what your subconscious mind or ego or environment is trying to really drive into your spirit, or you observe that thought. Let's go back to the $100. This is how they're showing it to me. You check your bank account. You realize, okay, I only have $100. Again, that mentality, I only have $100. When you feel that way, take a deep breath. I have $100 for what I need at this time, and more is coming to me. It is that simple. That is you being a conscious creator. It's easy. Again, we here in this world seem to very much be conditioned to default to the absolute negative, the despair, the fear of everything. I'm telling you, my body is shaking at the moment with anxiety because that is how the world feels. I think we're on the edge. But it's time to realize that if fear is coming up of being on the edge, it is because we are at the precipice of a magnitude shift in this world. It is time for when that fear comes up for you, you say something good is coming. It's not bad. Something good is coming. Let's do that. Let's do that instead of thinking that we're in the end of times. Have you realized that in every generation, there's always a conversation of this world it's not a good world to bring a family into the world right now. It's not a good, how can I bring a family into this world if it's falling apart? The world has been falling apart on a loop over and over and over again. It's almost like it's that fear mentality. It really goes down to that. I know this is like pseudo spirituality bullshit. Trust me. I know, because when I used to hear it, from other humans, if you will, even though we are all kind of channeling the divine, but when I used to hear this kumbaya shit, I'm having like an epiphany right now, to be honest. Excuse me, burp confirmation. I would hear the whole, don't be in a fear mentality, and I'll be like, yeah, but I don't know any other way. Like, quite literally, if I don't have the tools, to look at the world in a happy, beautiful place, because I've always just been taught from fear of, if you only have $100, you don't have enough, that kind of thing. You know what I mean? I'm going back to the $100. I'm going to show it in another way to see if it can resonate with other people. It's like, let's say you have a bill to pay on the 20th and you're checking your bank account on the 15th, right? And you're like, I only have $100 and I need 200 by the 20th. What am I going to do? I don't have enough. It's time to look at that as the glass half full, not half empty. Try in that moment, okay? And this could be an exercise where it might not happen the first time around, but that's almost part of the reward when it does happen. So when you see the $100 that you need more because you have obviously need more to pay the bill on the 20th and it's the 15th. Okay, I have $100. I have what I need in the moment. I know that when the 20th comes, I'm going to have enough to pay my bills. Shift your mentality and you shift your reality. I can't stress this enough. I don't know. It's the message that wants to come through. I don't know if I'm portraying it correctly. I really don't know. I've had channeled messages before, but they were very personal level. But this feels grand. This feels like I need to share it. But I'm not. Again, I'm second guessing myself. There's that weird sense of no one's gonna really click with this, no one's really going to appreciate this, and I don't know why that even matters, because that doesn't matter to me. That's how I know this is the programming that's going on. Like, I really have reached a point in my life when I really don't care what people think about me, and I've been sharing my spirituality unfiltered, and I've been trying to be myself, because otherwise it will be my own demise, quite frankly. The more that I've dimmed my light, quite frankly, if you want to look at it that way, the more depressed I've been. And then my depression has been mirrored back to me. And therefore, I've been in a constant loop of thinking I'm not enough. But because I think I'm not enough, therefore, I'm not enough to myself, if that makes sense. So yeah, this took a turn, but it all stemmed back to the same thing. It's time to shift your reality. Be delusional. And if you need to literally... I'm telling you, because I've lived it, okay? This is fresh. This is not me going back 2-3 years. This is me going back 2-3 days where I broke down. I've never surrendered in that capacity in my life before. I was literally, I was, and it stemmed from, it's like I took my anger, fear, sorrow, just sadness, and I broke down and I cried every time I felt like crying, like deep crying. And I just kept saying to God, you have to show up for me. You have to show up for me. Show up for me. And guess what? I show up for me. I did. Because again, you are the creator. I was the one who told myself things have to change. And if they don't change, okay, if when the opportunity arises for change, if you don't take that change, life is not, you're not going to be here for longer. It was really that deep. It was really that crazy. Okay. Like I was like, we either change or or we're not staying here for longer. But at the moment, I was bargaining with God. I was giving God an ultimatum. I was like, I will not be here past this fucking point unless you show up for me. I was like, I was pleading to my ancestors, to my past loved ones, anybody that could hear me. I literally put out a beacon. Now I'm kind of seeing that light that I started with, the light codes that I started with. It's time to not let I don't know how to say this. I don't know how I'm going to word this. Your intense despair and sadness that leads you to suicidal thoughts, ideations, and I'm not sure if I'm saying that word wrong, ideation? I don't know. Whatever leads you to a broken place where you're like, I'm about to give up. Like, I'm planning it. I say it like it's happening. It's happening. I'm done here. Surrender to it. If you need to. I mean, I'm telling you what I did, and you could see if it works for you. Okay. And I'm not telling anybody here to do what I did in the sense of plan things out, or even like kind of literally be like, I'm dying by this day if things don't change. But I am saying surrender completely. And if you're someone who has gone through depression, you know what it feels like to be in that moment of utterly despair, when the cup literally overflows and your tears do not stop. And if they stop, there's this dry heave of, I need to cry more, but I have no tears left kind of thing. If you reach that point, my friend, if you've reached that point, whenever help is trying to reach you by the outside means, take it. Take the help, okay? You might not like how it looks, but if you take the help that's offered to you, you're just gonna receive a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more, okay? It's almost like the little bit of help that is being extended to you that can reach you in that moment, because you're in intense darkness, okay? So now I'm seeing a vision that I saw yesterday when I did a reading of reaching towards the dark, like literally a void. You're sticking your hand in a void and you're pulling yourself out of there. That is what God wants to do for you. Quite literally, that's why your spirit guides are here to tell you that they're trying to do for you. But when the hand is being extended, you have to take it, okay? Take the help. It could be little, it could be minimal, okay? It doesn't have to be a grand thing. It's not going to be everything that you need right now, but it's going to be a little bit of something. And that little bit of something, my goodness, it's almost like I had this pile of wood, or if you will, this is the vision that I'm seeing. I was under this pile of wood, right? And I was asking for the rain to stop so that I can light the fire. I can live in a passionate and loving way with myself. Because if I don't love myself and my reality around me, shitty as it might be, I was not going to be here for long. Okay. So I was begging for the fire within me to ignite, for things to change, for transformation, for the fruit of my labors to show up for me. I was begging. Okay. It's not my begging and my despair came from a place of realizing that I deserved so much better than I was getting, right? And I wasn't seeing it. And I kept saying, if I deserve better, why is it not here? It was that anger. Okay. I was angry at the world, at God, at everybody. But again, it was a little spark that came through. But the hand that came through the darkness to the void that I was in, trying to pull me out, it wasn't the big flame that I was expecting. I was expecting burping for confirmation, okay? I was expecting, those flamethrowers that Elon Musk invented or whatever. I don't know if it was him. I was expecting that. I was expecting, honestly, I wanted like an entity or some kind of proof that God was fucking real, or else I wasn't having it. I was like, peace, deuces, like I'm done. And but what came through wasn't a flamethrower. It was a match, but it was a waterproof match. So, that's significant because it was raining. It was raining a lot in my world, in my psyche, in my soul, in my heart. There was like this pit of despair, and it's still there. Okay, I'm not saying that it again. Like I said, I'm not going back years. I could, because I've been through this before, but it was like a breakthrough for me. I'm going back days. Okay. What came through was a little spark, a little match. But when I tell you, this is how you know that you are meant for so much more, when you can take that little match and cultivate it and allow it to be enough of a guiding force out of the darkness. I couldn't get a flamethrower, but you know what I did get? I got a little waterproof match that never ran out. It wasn't running out. It was little. It was a tiny light. But it's led me out of a lot of darkness. So that's significant in the sense of whenever you get the help that you're praying for, it might not be what you completely deserve in the moment, but it will be enough to spark life into you again. If you're in a complete void and darkness, the light from one match is going to be significant for you. That's the message, okay? That's really the message. That's the vision that I keep seeing that makes sense to me now. And how it translates into you being a creator of your own reality is, yes, feel your feelings. Be in the darkness and the void as long as you need to. But when you really surrender and the help then comes in from the divine, okay? Because they can finally reach you, and they're going to reach you through other people, okay? For me, it was my very close family. It was my mom and then my stepdad. A little bit of what I needed to stay here, and kind of, again, it was like a tiny match, but that was enough. I saw the shift, and it's like even getting the match was a struggle. There was a very intense conversation that had to happen. I had to be very vulnerable and ask for help, voice what I needed. I wouldn't have done it any other way if my mom wouldn't have approached me. That's how God came through, right? But I'm not taking credit away from her, but I do see how she's never been like that before, kind of understanding in that way. So that's how I know that there was a shift. Because when I spoke my truth and when I told her what I really needed, and I came from a place of, honestly, I had nothing to lose. So I just said what I needed to say. What I needed. I voiced my concerns and what I needed. And we settled on something. And again, what we settled on for others might not seem like much, but we all agreed on me keeping this little spark. They're helping me to keep a little spark. And that little spark has changed my life. Quite frankly, it really has. So yes, when you're in this void of darkness and there's a little something being offered to you, and you turn that little something into, it's almost like all you can see. And it's okay. It's okay, even though it's just a match in a void of darkness, because it is a source of light that will not go out, as tiny as it may be. It's almost like all you can focus on. That also wants to be the message for a couple of days now, where let the darkness, use the darkness, right, to be the background and almost like the complementing energy to the light. As little as the light might be, let the pure utter darkness around you complement the light that you hold, tiny as it may be. That's very metaphorical, and I'm not sure even how to translate that into a 3D reality kind of thing, because I like to put things in simple terms. I like big words and big explanations, but I don't think that's the way to go sometimes when it comes to spirituality and getting people out of the place of, again, darkness. I don't think that's the easiest way to do it. The easiest way is to speak to people in normal terms, but there is also certain jargon that you have to implement here. But I want you to see the darkness as the depression, right? Deep depressive state. Okay, cool. You're there. Okay. It's like I'm seeing it as you literally being in the dark. You can't even see your hands in front of you. Darkness. I know what that feels like. I'm speaking from a place of knowing. So when you're there, if you're offered the light of a tiny match, there's enough light for you to, at least when you're holding that, it's going to captivate you. It's all you're going to see. Why? Because it's the only light in all this darkness. Allow that to be your driving force, okay? And it's not you grasping at the tiniest thing to be the light. It's something that's going to be offered to you. It's going to be an opportunity. But it also will require action from you. Whatever lesson you're integrating at this time, surrounding your mental, physical, spiritual health, because you might be not in the best place in one of those or in all of those, okay? When the tiny match comes through to you, accept it. Let it consume you. Let it consume your attention. Focus on the good. We know that there is immense darkness all around. We're not denying that. The spiritual community is not denying that. We know. But it's time to focus on the spark and the light that we do carry and we do have, and is being offered to us. And then in doing so, we shift. Now we're like, I'm not in complete darkness. At least I have this match. And then you kind of just let that sink in. And when I tell you that you're going from a match to a full lit fire, and you're going to be a phoenix, and you're going to embody that light if you allow yourself to, you will. Truly, you will. And then you get to be a flamethrower for other people, or you get to be a match for other people. It depends. It's going to be different for everybody. I feel like a lot of the collective right now, you are in a very, very dark place, because that's where it's almost like the program wants you there. If you want to look at it that way, you are a fruit of your environment because of that. It's almost like, again, we are on cycles of fear. And fear is an illusion. We hear that all the time. And I think we forget it because we come back to, again, practicality, or come back to reality. And then the reality, what is in the reality? Fear. That's why they want you to come back to reality. Nah, I'm here to tell you to be delusional. If you have a tiny, tiny spark, share your tiny, tiny spark. And other people will at least have some not tiny, tiny spark to hold on to and to look at. Why be negative when you can be a positive person, is what I'm hearing too. It's like, and I know it's easier said than done. I think I'm gonna stop talking now. I think I got everything out that I needed to for right now. I know this is an ongoing message. This is like a collective thing. It's like I'm living it, and then I can tell the story of it. So if you're listening to this, thank you. And I hope it brought you some perspective. And maybe it didn't. Maybe you just listened to listen because it was interesting. But I feel like regardless, the divine just wants to plant the seed of hope in everybody, okay? We're going to start with a tiny spark, but we're going to get to way more than that. Remember that the image keeps coming back to me of, you could be in a void of light, darkness, so dark that you can't see your hands in front of you. But when you get that match, it's almost like all that you can see. That is what the message is. Hold on to that beautiful, beautiful, tiny light that you still hold within, or that is being offered to you. I'm hearing stay a little while longer. Stay a little while longer, because it'll be worth it, okay? It will be worth it. But you also have to consciously shift your mindset about your life. And you do that little by little, okay? Today you do it with the story of $100. Maybe you think it's not enough, but it is enough, because you don't need the 200 right now. You need the 200 on the 20th, and it's the 15th. So why are we stressing? Kind of thing, okay? Allow for you, what you have, to be that little tiny spark for you. Because there's more coming, but you also have to shift the way that you're seeing the world, okay? When you come back to reality, make sure that your reality is one of abundance and one of love. Love is the answer here. Thank you for watching, if you did, and listening, I should say. Have a good one.